Mark McMurtry is a spokesman for the Tent Embassy and he joins us now from Canberra. Mark, can I ask you, do you think the actions by those involved yesterday, were they appropriate?
Are you talking about the police or the protesters?
I'm talking about the protesters.
We don't think that they were necessarily appropriate. We believe that they were incited. We also feel that there were a number of people there who weren't necessarily Aboriginal people that were down here for the celebrations and incited a lot of the Aboriginal people down here to take the protest to Mr Abbott. I'd like to say that Michael Anderson and myself actually went around to the side entrance where Julia Gillard came out, and we tried to peaceably ask for Michael Abbott to and/or Julia Gillard to come down to the embassy either later in the day or today to explain exactly what the comments that Tony Abbott had said that incited our people.
What do you mean when you say that Tony Abbott has incited the people? He said, I understand he said yesterday that he believed it was time for people to move on. Yeah. Why does that incite people to violently protest? Because
of the lack of disrespect that it shows to our people. The comment in itself was fairly innocuous when you just read the comment by itself. But when you take the comment in context, with facts such as Aboriginal people in Australia are dying in prisons at a rate higher than ever occurred in South Africa under the apartheid regime, for him to make a comment that we should disband our representative site in the nation's capital, and is sort of akin to us going up to the cenotaph on Anzac Day and asking you to pull that down.
But that might incite robust political debate. That shouldn't incite violent protest.
Well, the violence, the only violence you can see came from the police. So don't say that it was a violent protest. It was a violent reaction to the protest. But
the building was surrounded and the Prime Minister had to be escorted out with police holding a line to them because people weren't allowing her to leave the venue in her car. That sounds pretty violent to me.
No, it wasn't violent. If you have a look at the footage, you'll see Michael Anderson actually had turned away to allow the police to exit the building. We went there to ask her and Mr Abbott to come down and speak to us. That's all we went there for. We went there to do it peaceably. Some people in...
I don't know about your personal actions. I'm not necessarily accusing you personally of being violent, but we can see the footage of people having very aggressive protesting to the point where they couldn't leave the building safely. That's going too far, isn't it?
No, they could have left the building safely quite easily. The problem was when the police started attacking the protesters. There's one young red-headed federal police officer who we're going to be talking to the federal police about today, and we're going to be laying charges against that man, for example, smashing the face of a young woman. Okay? The issue is that we didn't incite this. Mr Abbott made these comments and then comes down to 100 metres away from where he knows he's going to have a couple of thousand or 3,000 or 5,000 activists and people collected for a peaceful protest. Okay.
He didn't come down to the Tent Embassy. He went to a restaurant at Old Parliament House to help give medals to emergency services volunteers. That's quite different.
Excuse me, it wasn't at Old Parliament House at all. Best get your facts straight.
It was at a restaurant. He didn't come down to the Tent Embassy. He came down to a restaurant to take part in a function to honour volunteers in the emergency services. That's not coming down and making comments in an insightful way. That's him taking part in one of his roles as a parliamentary member.
He made the comments in an insightful and smug manner in Sydney, and then flies several hundred kilometres to come down and sit 100 metres from us, knowing full well that we're trying to have our peaceful protest on our site. Knowing full well
he wasn't engaging with you. He was taking part in a separate function in the nation's capital where he works. It's entirely reasonable for him to be in Canberra at a function.
Exactly right. It's entirely reasonable for us to have a peaceful protest, which is what we were doing. And yes, there were some people, and if you have a look at the majority of the people who were banging on the glass, they haven't got dark skin. Okay? And the only time it got violent was when the police started the violence. You know, you've got your footage and you're showing fairly selective footage. We've got our own people. We've got some pretty good footage too we can give you that show the assaults that the police undertook. But I notice you're not talking about that. You don't want to go near that.
No, I was just trying to get to the bottom of how this came about. We certainly have talked about, and you have raised many times in this interview, the actions of police, and it's certainly something that police are also reviewing the circumstances as well, and no doubt your concerns will be looked at by them too. So thank you for raising your concerns, but also putting your point of view to us this morning.
Well, I didn't get to put my point of view across, did I?
I think we managed to cover your concerns and also the events that unfolded yesterday. So we do thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.